Malibu residents are convinced they've got a killer on the loose. This is Murder Week for September 14th, 2018. First, we'll get into old news. A cat serial killer is currently on the loose in Mesa, Arizona. This comes on the heels of last week's news of a cat killer in Washington, claiming Shizzer 13th victim.
For many people who live in this Mesa neighborhood near 9th Place and Grand, the neighborhood cats became family.
We moved into our house about 4 years ago, and Jake came with the house.
Unfortunately, half of Jake's body was found in the middle of the road. Her husband discovered the other half.
Terrible thing. Japan's Takahiro Shiraishi, known as the Twitter Killer by the British tabloids for an ad he posted on his Twitter account asking for assisted suicide volunteers, is in the news. Wikipedia is referring to the case as the Zama Suicide Pact slayings. Whatever they call him, Japanese prosecutors want to see him hang. Japanese prosecutors are determined to see an accused serial killer hang. Officials have indicted Takahiro Shiraishi, 27, on multiple charges of murder, forcible sexual intercourse, and robbery. Suspected of murdering and chopping people up, he lured them in on social media and stored their body parts in cooler boxes. He was charged on Monday, on September 10th, with 9 counts of murder. He killed 9 people over the course of 2 months, dismembered them too. He worked as a Kaori scout, bringing women into the sex trade. All 9 of his victims were strangled with a rope and robbed. All 8 of the women were sexually assaulted. 2 Twitter accounts he had were I Want to Die and A Professional at Hanging, and he advertised for people to come and get themselves killed. One victim's brothers set up a police sting that got him. Neighbors complained about the smell of dead bodies. Apparently, he trolled suicide forums looking for victims, and that's where his victim's brother found him. He told police, I wanted to be a gigolo. Turning to more current events, a crew member who worked on Grimm has been sentenced to 30 years for multiple rapes. Thomas Walter Oliver worked as an independent Portland photographer and videographer. He's being accused of attacking or raping 11 victims. In Bhopal, in India, this is the story of a generational mass killer, a tailor-turned-serial killer who just confessed to 33 murders. He killed 33 people. All of them were truck drivers or their helpers. According to the police in Bhopal, after he killed his unsuspecting targets, he dumped their bodies in isolated locations and sold their trucks. Turkey's arsonist serial killer had accomplices. Goodness. I don't care. Stop it. Turkey's arsonist serial killer had accomplices. A 44-year-old man accused of killing 13 people in northern Turkey by burning them alive had accomplices who are yet to be apprehended, according to Turkish media. The deaths of two roommates, you bastard. The deaths of 2 roommates in Seattle looks like a murder-suicide. They are both from Thailand. They met when they attended Boston University. A 32-year-old woman stabbed her 25-year-old roommate to death, then stabbed herself, according to the King County Medical Examiner. A guy in California killed his whole family and ran around the city to do it. U.S. police have named the alleged gunman who killed 5 people in linked shootings before killing himself in Bakersfield, California. Javier Cesares drove his ex-wife to a trucking business in the city. He killed 2 men and his estranged wife. He then drove to a home where he shot 2 more people, jacked a car from a woman with a child in it, and then he killed himself. So the victims are Antonio Valdez, Manuel Contreras, Eliseo Garcia, and Laura Garcia. What a shame. And this story really buries the lead. The LA County Sheriff's is investigating the 3rd body found in this same area since May, Calabasas. They say way down here at the end, 2 bodies have been found in the area in recent months. Keep a lookout here. Turning to legal news, the man accused of being the Gypsy Hill serial killer in San Francisco says he's not the guy. Loudly. To the jury. As his trial began.
Rodney Halbauer, he's 69 years old, and he's been in prison in Oregon for almost 3 decades before coming here on charges of attempted murder. That's when DNA evidence from a cigarette butt linked him to a string of violent crimes from 1976. Now authorities believe he is responsible for killing 5 women in Northern California and 1 in Reno.
An Alberton, New Zealand murder suspect has apparently killed yet again. A 74-year-old woman was murdered in Alberton Village on September 1st by 2 men. The 2 suspects linked in the murder were arrested on September 6th. They were out on bail from a previous murder case. Also an elderly woman, aged 85. They won't stop. Near Perth, Australia, a Bedford mass murder suspect appeared in court this week. Anthony Robert Harvey killed his 3-year-old, his 2-year-old twin girls, their mom, and the grandma the next day. He turned himself in. Cops don't have a motive yet. In a Brookdale, New Jersey murder trial, Raquel Garajan was found guilty of shooting her dealer, even though she says her boyfriend was the one who shot him and she just helped hide the body. Chris Watts' attorneys are asking for a special counsel investigation into illegal press leaks. Good luck, buddy. You'll remember Chris Watts murdered his wife and kids, dumped the bodies at work, initially reported them missing, and then he was famously interviewed on live TV, crying about how he wanted his wife back. Eventually, his mistress started cooperating with the police. He initially said he killed his wife in a rage after she killed the kids. Probably fake news, said that his lover could have been a guy. He had animalistic sex and choked his mistress. A friend of the couple said she wasn't shocked he killed her. He has called for a special counsel investigation into the prosecutor's office and law enforcement for leaks. That brings us up to today. In a case of correlation is not causation, but it is correlation. A pastor accused of murder has been arrested for theft while on bond for capital murder. Okay, and I guess finally, Jeffrey Dahmer's sketches showed up on a Netflix series called The Dark Tourist. Oh my goodness, there's a trailer. Hold on. Dark Tourist trailer.
Life can be dangerous when you're a dark tourist. My name is David Ferrier, and I've always been drawn to the weirder side of life. So I've decided to investigate dark tourism, a global phenomenon where people choose to vacation in places associated with death and destruction.
What is it about going into war?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love everything about it. Hang on. I'll give the guy a like. Like. There we go. And finally, the Tumblr Blogpocalypse has claimed 4 true crime community-related blogs, including Dominate Kemper, The Town, the Schools and Building, Columbine Bitching, and Queer TCC but not Queers TCC. Please give a shout if your blog was banned. Message unopened parachute number 0116 on Discord. I said number, not hashtag. Hey. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and hitting the bell. And please tune in next week for your share of murder news. Happy birthday to Wrath. Pretty soon, next week.